Hey everybody, welcome back to Magic Orthodoxy. My name's David and this is a Magic Review. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. You guys are awesome. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for hanging out with me. Today we're going to talk about Paul Carnazzo. And if you've been a viewer of my channel for any amount of time, you know I'm a huge fan of Paul. There's at least, I would say, 4 tricks of his that are everyday carries for my wallet. He makes great wallet effects. He makes great everyday carry effects. Today we're going to talk about infinity blocks. Infinity blocks is a new trick of his. He has a new subcategory at Mental Voyage called Century Magic. And Century Magic is a lot of the tricks that he's making with his 3D printer. So I would assume Paul's like other people that get 3D printers. They get all excited and they realize all the things that they can build. And I already reviewed something else that he built with his 3D printer. And we're going to do a couple of others as well. But this, the infinity blocks, it's the light heavy boxes, kind of. But instead of not being able to pick the items up, you have 3 blocks. They're little hand oval type blocks that should all weigh the same. But as the spectator picks them up in different combinations, they weigh differently. And they almost seem to get heavier as they go through the process. And it's completely unexplainable. Because to the spectator, they're going to feel like every block is light. Every block just should feel like this empty, plastic, 3D printed box. But then as they're stacked together, or depending on which hand they use, they start to feel heavier and heavier and heavier. And it's almost like a hypnosis type feeling where their brain is playing a trick on them. And the weights will even change from one hand to the next. I hope I've explained it. Go watch his trailer on YouTube. He's got a full performance out there. You can watch that, and I'm sure you'll get the gist of it. Watching that. Let's say you pay your $80 to Mental Voyage. What will you get? You'll get the 3D printed blocks that he's made. And there is only 3. Okay, there is only 3. There's no switch out. And he's made a little carrying rack for them as well, a little carrying case that they all click into. And then you'll get an instructional video, which is about 15 minutes long. Is it what I thought? No, it's not what I thought. I thought it'd be kind of something like a sand type thing. You know, if you tip it, then the weight moves to the other end and it rolls back, or something like that. Or that there was different weights in each block, and that when they clicked together in different combinations, they would weigh differently, but it's not that at all. What's the overall quality and production value of the video? It is well shot. There is nice music in the background. It is well mic'd. And then at the explanation part, Paul will be in his magical office. He, of course, has an intro, and he talks about how the blocks work. And he encourages you to do the illusion on yourself. And you should. You should do this on yourself so that you get an idea of how this works. And then he'll explain his full 3-phase routine. And like I said, it's only 15 minutes long, so it's not terribly long. But what I would do, and this is what I encourage you to do, watch the training with the blocks in your hands. Don't just watch this video and think that you're going to go back to it later. You want the blocks in your hand as you do this, because you need to get a feel for this, and you need to experience what your spectators will experience, because you'll be able to explain it so much better. He'll teach you a switch so that you can apparently hand your spectator all 3 blocks so that they feel the same. And then Paul's going to close with his thoughts and how he likes to present the trick. Pocket space, I mean, it is close at magic, right? It is close at magic, but it doesn't feel pocket worthy. These don't feel like pocket items. They're kind of big, right? They're kind of big, and they can be heavy, right? As the trick explains. So you have to come up with a way to carry this or present this. Angles, there's no angles. Every single block looks and feels the same. But like I said, he is going to teach you a switch so that they can all be inspected. So that goes to inspectability. And they do pick them up and hold them throughout the routine. There's barely any moments where you take them back. So like I said, there's no switching, and there's no ringing things in or ditching. Like, that doesn't happen. So, and then they really do hold all 3 blocks. They do pick all 3 blocks up. So totally inspectable. Practice-wise, it is a routine, right? It is a routine, and there's no sleights involved. What you see happening in the trailer is what's happening. Paul isn't doing anything else secretive that you can't see. right? He's not controlling something, pushing something, manipulating something. When you watch the trailer, that is what's happening. And so there's only a couple of things that you need to remember as the routine goes through, but you do need to remember the routine. And that's one of the reasons why I say do this with Paul when he's teaching you, so that that muscle memory starts to get built, that you're remembering how this trick goes because you had it happen to yourself, right? You experienced it, and now you're repeating the experience for someone else. There's also no setup and there's no reset. There's 3 blocks and 3 blocks only. That's all there is. They don't move. They don't have any moving parts. There's no buttons to click. There's nothing to slide. Positives. All right, so what are the positives? I mean, this is really a trick that's not like anything else, right? It is. It's unique. It's not a card trick. It's not a coin trick. It's not really mentalism. It's not a rope trick. It's not an escape. It's not sponge balls. This is something that probably a lot of people have never seen or experienced. And I would argue, if you're trying to stand out, trying to be unique, trying to make a name for yourself, you want people to remember you, you might try to find more tricks like that. Something different that makes you stand out. Not that I'm saying that coin tricks and card tricks can't make you stand out. Of course they can. But maybe presenting them in a way that makes them memorable, right? I think a lot of times we can get stuck in these ruts of doing tricks that are very forgettable. We remember that their performance was good, but then when the spectators are talking to their friends and their friends say, well, what did they do? You say, I don't know, they just did some card tricks and they were really cool. You want your spectators to be able to repeat the things that you do to help spread the word about you. And so this is definitely something they'll remember, right? And they can easily explain it. You had these 3 blocks. She had these 3 blocks. And they weighed differently, and then they weighed less, and then they weighed more. I used my hands and the left hand or my right hand, and then they changed. Like, I just couldn't explain it. It was crazy, right? So you're making a memory. And I think that speaks volumes. All right, so what are the negatives? I think the negative for me really was I could see where this trick might come across not as a magic trick, right? It would just be more of a curiosity. Like, oh, isn't that interesting? Sometimes they're lighter and sometimes they're heavier. Huh. Right? And Paul presents himself as a mentalist, but this trick isn't mentalism. When Paul presents this trick, he does it more as like an experiment in hypnosis, but I'm not hypnotizing you. It just feels like hypnosis. And so that's good. So I think you need to go through this yourself, do it to yourself, maybe even practice on someone who's a friend and who's going to be honest with you, and then learn where you need to slow down and explain what they're feeling. Let it sink in that when they pick up 3 blocks, it's medium weight, but when they pick up 2, it's now heavier. The impossibility needs to register with them, and it needs to sink in, okay? And if you rush through this and you don't emphasize the right things, it'll just come across as a puzzle. And you don't want that. Unless you do, but I don't think you do, right? You want it to come across as a magic trick. You want it to come across as something that's impossible, and they're now experiencing it. And they're doing it, right? You're not picking the items up, they are picking it up. So it's something that's happening between their hand and their brain and how they're perceiving reality. And so I think you need to frame it in some really beautiful pattern, okay? And I think that's really gonna elevate that trick. Is it worth your money? It is $80, 80 bucks. But like I said, these are all handmade items. These are all 3D printed, handmade items that Paul has made himself. And so you're getting those 3 blocks, which will last you forever, and the 15 minutes instruction. But I said I would tell you what some of my favorite Paul Carnazzo tricks are. If you head on down to Mental Voyage, you're gonna see a ton of stuff. He has a big, huge catalog of tricks. My favorite depiction is one of my absolute favorites. The travel ESP cards, I love those. They're small, they're lightweight, they're plastic, waterproof, and they're marked. Marked ESP cards, they're tiny. White Lies is so easy, and it's only 1 card. I love White Lies. Fit, I did a review for that. Fit is his coin through ring. I even performed that over on TikTok. That's a fun little everyday carry, and lexicology is another one of my very favorites. All right, that's everything I can say about the infinity blocks from Paul Carnazzo. Of course, I got this from Paul and Mental Voyage, and I want to thank Mental Voyage for allowing me to have this so that I could do the review for you. And if you would like to purchase it for yourself, I'll put a link to his store down in the description. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.